Korean particles can feel confusing at first, but they are actually one of the biggest shortcuts to sounding natural in Korean. In this lesson, we are going to break down the 3 most important basic Korean particles for beginners. The topic particles 은, 는, the subject particles 이, 가, and the object particles 을, 를. By the way, if you're new to this, particles are just little markers we attach to words to show things like the topic, subject, or object. This also answers a very common question learners ask. What are Korean particles? Simply put, they are small words attached to nouns that show their role in a sentence. You will learn what each one does, how they change meaning, and how to choose the right one depending on the sentence. By the end of this lesson, you'll be able to understand Korean sentence structure much more clearly and avoid the most common mistakes beginners make. Alright, let's start with a quick overview of how Korean sentences actually work, because once you get this, particles become a lot easier. In English, word order does most of the work, but in Korean, particles tell you exactly what role each word plays in the sentence. The topic, the subject, the object, the place, and so on. Without particles, sentences can become unclear or even change meaning completely. For example, 저는 사과를 먹어요. As for me, I eat an apple. Here, 저는 marks the topic. 사과를 marks the object. And 먹어요 is the action. Once you know what these particles are marking, Korean sentences start to feel predictable and much easier to understand. So let's break down the particles one by one. Another common question is, how many Korean particles are there? The short answer is, quite a lot. But the good news is, you don't need to learn all of them at once. Most beginners only need a small core set, like 은, 는, 이, 가, 을, 를, 에, and 에서, to start forming natural sentences. Learners often ask, when should I use 은 or 는 in Korean? You use 은, 는 when you want to talk about a general topic, give background information, or show contrast. The Korean particle 은, 는 marks the topic of the sentence. It sets the stage, gives context, or contrasts something. You use it when you want to highlight what the sentence is about. So when you hear people say the topic particle in Korean, they're talking about 은, 는. We can use it in sentences like this. 저는 학생이에요. As for me, I am a student. 한국 음식은 맛있어요. As for Korean food, it's delicious. 은, 는 also expresses contrast, especially when comparing two things. For example, 커피는 좋아해요. 하지만 차는 별로예요. As for coffee, I like it, but as for tea, I don't really like it. This clearly shows the contrast between coffee and tea. So if you're wondering how to use the topic particle in Korean, the key is this. Use 은, 는 when you're setting the topic of the sentence, not just stating who does the action. So remember, 은, 는 is about the overall topic or for contrast, not always the grammatical subject. If you're wondering when to use 이 versus 가, it's simply based on pronunciation. 이 comes after a consonant and 가 comes after a vowel. 이, 가 marks the grammatical subject. It shows who or what is performing the action or who is being described. So when people say the Korean subject particle, they are talking about 이, 가. A very common question is, when do you use 이, 가 in Korean? You use 이, 가 when you want to identify the subject clearly, introduce new information, or emphasize who or what is doing something. For example, 고양이가 귀여워요. The cat is cute. 비가 와요. It's raining. 학생이 왔어요. The student came. We also use 이, 가 when introducing new information answering who or what, or focusing on the door. For example, 누가 문을 열었어요? Who opened the door? 제가 열었어요. I opened it. Focus on I. Let's try a short dialogue. 누가 전화했어요? Who called? 친구가 전화했어요. My friend called. See how 이가 highlights who actually did something. That's the key. 을를 show the direct object of the sentence, basically what's receiving the action. 책을 읽어요. I read a book. 문을 닫아요. I close the door. 물을 마셔요. I drink water. If there's an action and something is being affected, that's where 을를 go. Now, here's how it sounds in conversation. 뭐 봐요? What are you watching? 드라마를 봐요. I'm watching a drama. So whenever there's an action being done to something, that's where 을를 comes in. Before we move on, if you're finding this helpful and want a deeper breakdown of Korean grammar, make sure to check our Korean Learning membership. You'll get structured lessons, quizzes, and pronunciation help so you know you're learning correctly. Now, let's talk about the most confusing part of learners, the difference between 은, 는, and 이, 가. This is honestly one of the most asked questions. What's the difference between 은, 는, and 이, 가? The short answer is that 은, 는 marks the overall topic or general statement, while 이, 가 identifies the specific door or highlights new information. Here's the simplest way to understand it. 은, 는 means as for this. 이, 가 means this is the one. 은, 는 sets the topic. 이, 가 highlights or identifies something. Here's a simple example. 고양이는 귀여워요. As for cats, they are cute. General statement. 고양이가 귀여워요. The cat is cute. Specific cat right now. Let's try a short dialogue. 누가 이걸 만들었어요? Who made this? 제가 만들었어요. I did, identifying the door. 저는 요리는 잘 못해요. As for me, I'm not good at cooking. Topic, contrast. This distinction becomes clearer over time through exposure. But this basic pattern will help you choose more confidently. Now, let's quickly go over a few essential particles for locations and movement. 에서 marks where an action happens. 학교에서 공부해요. I study at school. 에 marks where something exists or where you go. 집에 있어요. I am at home. 학교에 가요. I go to school. So if you've ever wondered 에 versus 에서, the quick way to remember it is 에 is location or direction, and 에서 is where the action actually happens. 까지 means until or to. 집까지 걸었어요. I walked all the way home. 부터 means from, a time or place. 아침부터 바빴어요. I've been busy since morning. Here's another quick dialogue. 어디에서 만날까요? Where shall we meet? 카페에서 만나요. Let's meet at the cafe. Here are the ones I see most often. Mistake 1. Dropping particles too early. Yes, natives drop them, but only in very casual, predictable situations. As a beginner, don't skip them yet. Use the full particles until they become natural. Mistake 2. Using 이, 가 when the sentence needs 은, 는 for general statement. 한국 음식이 맛있어요. Sounds like you're identifying Korean food. 한국 음식은 맛있어요. General statement. Use 은, 는 for broad general comment. Mistake 3. Mixing up 에 and 에서. 집에 공부해요 is incorrect. 집에서 공부해요 is correct. 에 is for locations of existence or movement. 에서 is for locations of actions. Mistake 4. Mixing up 이, 가 and 을를. Beginners often use 이, 가 where the verb actually needs an object with 을를. 커피가 좋아해요 is incorrect. 커피를 좋아해요 is correct. If the verb is something you do to something, use 을. These small details change the meaning more than you might realize, so practicing them makes a big difference. Mistake 5. Spending too much time trying to perfectly understand the difference between 은, 는, and 이, 가. Beginners often overthink these particles. At this stage, your sentences will usually be understood even if you mix them up a little. Focus on the main idea. 은, 는 is for the topic or general comment. 이, 가 is for the specific subject or new information. With more practice and exposure, the subtle differences will start to feel natural. If you're looking for a structured way to practice these rules with quizzes and pronunciation reviews, we have a guided program for this inside our 90-day Korean membership. It's a great next step if you want that extra support to ensure you're using these particles correctly in real conversations. Now, let's test what you've learned so far. I'll give you pairs of sentences. Choose the correct one based on topic, subject, object, or location. You're talking generally about dogs. A. 개가 귀여워요. B. 개는 귀여워요. Correct B. 은, 는 for a general statement. You're answering who ate it. A. 제가 먹었어요. B. 저는 먹었어요. Correct A. 이, 가 highlights I'm the one. You're saying I study at home. A. 집에 공부해요. B. 집에서 공부해요. Correct B. 에서 marks where the action takes place. You're saying I'm drinking coffee. A. 커피를 마셔요. B. 커피가 마셔요. Correct A. 를 marks the object. Let's quickly summarize the most important ideas so they stick. Just listen and see how many you remember already. 은, 는 shows the topic or contrast. 이, 가 marks the subject or highlights a specific door. 을, 를 marks the object receiving the action. 에 shows location or destination. 에서 shows the location of an action. 까지 means to, until, and 부터 means from. These are the core particles that show up in basic Korean grammar and daily conversation, so getting comfortable with them early really pays off. One of the best ways to remember particles naturally is by attaching them to vocabulary from day one. Instead of just memorizing words, try memorizing phrases. 저는, 제가, 학교에서, 집에, 물을, 라면을. When you learn words together with their particles, sentences feel more automatic. Particles might feel small, but they shape every Korean sentence you'll ever say. The more you understand them, the easier it becomes to form clear, natural Korean. Keep practicing by listening to how natives use 은, 는, 이, 가, 을, 를, and the place particles in everyday conversations or dramas. You'll start noticing patterns without even trying. If you want more structured practice and pronunciation guidance, check out our Korean Learning membership, where we break down grammar, speaking, and vocabulary step by step. Thanks for studying with me today. See you in the next lesson. 다음에 또 만나요.